The city never sleeps. People rush to work, streets are busy, and life moves fast. Among them is Ethan, a man who has everything: money, power, and a name that people respect. He wears expensive suits, drives luxury cars, and owns multiple businesses. He believes success is only for those who work smart, not those who struggle every day. Ethan has no patience for the poor. He thinks they don't try hard enough. In his world, if you're not rich, you're not trying. On the other side of the city, Lena wakes up before the sun rises. She doesn't have a fancy house or expensive clothes. She works multiple jobs just to survive. Life hasn't been kind to her, but she never gives up. She dreams of a better future and works harder than anyone she knows. One morning, Ethan walks into a high-end cafe. He orders his usual coffee, expecting fast service. Lena works there as a part-time cashier. She is behind the counter, taking orders. Ethan notices her worn-out uniform, tired face, and simple appearance. He frowns. When it's his turn, Lena greets him with a polite smile. "Good morning, sir. What would you like?" she asks. Ethan barely looks at her. His voice is cold. "Just make it fast. I don't have all day." Lena quickly prepares his coffee and hands it over. He takes one sip and scowls. "This is terrible. Can't you do anything right?" Lena stays calm. "I'm sorry, sir. I can make another one." Ethan shakes his head. "Forget it. People like you never get anywhere in life." He turns and walks away, leaving Lena standing there, humiliated but determined. Lena takes a deep breath, holding back the sting of Ethan's words. She's used to rude customers, but something about the way he said it feels different. It wasn't just about the coffee, it was about her life, her struggles, her existence. Ethan doesn't look back. To him, she's just another nameless worker in the background. He steps outside, scrolling through his phone, checking business emails, and preparing for his next meeting. Later that day, Lena rushes to her second job, cleaning offices in a corporate building. She barely has time to eat, but she doesn't complain. She needs the money. Coincidentally, one of the offices she cleans belongs to Ethan's company. She doesn't know it yet, but fate is about to bring them face to face again. As she pushes her cleaning cart into the main lobby, she sees a group of well-dressed men and women laughing and chatting. At the center is Ethan, confident as ever. Lena keeps her head down and moves to the side, hoping to go unnoticed. But as she passes, one of Ethan's colleagues bumps into her cart, making a cleaning cloth fall onto the floor near Ethan's feet. He looks down at the cloth, then at Lena. His expression turns into one of disgust. "You again?" he mutters. Lena quickly bends down to pick up the cloth. "I'm sorry, sir," she says softly. Ethan smirks, shaking his head. "Wow, first you ruined my coffee and now you're here scrubbing floors? Guess you really have no ambition." A few of his colleagues chuckle. Lena feels her face heat up, but she doesn't say anything. She stands up straight, gripping the cloth tightly. Ethan continues, his voice loud enough for everyone to hear. "You know, people like you stay in the same place forever. No skills, no goals, no future. That's why you'll always be cleaning up after people like me." Lena clenches her jaw, but she refuses to react. She simply nods and walks away, leaving Ethan and his friends behind. As she continues her work, one thought stays in her mind. One day, things will be different. Lena doesn't cry. She doesn't complain. She just works. Every night, after her shifts, she sits at her small secondhand desk, reading books on business and finance. She watches online courses, takes notes, and learns everything she can. Sleep is a luxury she can't afford, but she doesn't care. She has a plan. One day, while cleaning an office, she overhears two executives talking about a new business opportunity, a growing industry with huge potential. They don't pay attention to her, assuming she isn't listening, but Lena remembers every word. That night, she researches everything about the business idea. She sees the opportunity they were discussing and realizes she can do it too. But there's one problem: money. Lena barely has enough to survive, let alone start a business, but she refuses to give up. She takes on extra shifts, saves every penny, and looks for investors. Most people laugh at her, but one older woman, a former customer from the cafe, believes in her dream. "I've seen how hard you work," the woman says. "I know you'll make this happen." With the small investment, Lena starts her business. It's tough. She faces rejection, sleepless nights, and constant doubts. But she keeps pushing forward. Slowly, her business begins to grow. Months turn into years. Lena expands her company, hires employees, and builds a reputation for being fair and hardworking. She never forgets what it was like to struggle, so she treats her workers with respect. Her company becomes wildly successful. Investors notice. Clients trust her. Soon she isn't just surviving, she's thriving. One day she looks around her new office, a luxurious high-rise space overlooking the city. She thinks about how far she's come. The cafe, the cleaning jobs, the insults from Ethan, they all feel like a different life. But fate isn't done with her yet. One morning, her assistant knocks on her office door. "Ma'am, there's someone here looking for a job interview," she says. Lena nods, not thinking much of it. "Send them in." She turns back to her computer, reviewing a document. The door opens. She doesn't look up, until she hears a voice she hasn't forgotten. "Good morning," the man says. Lena lifts her head. "It's Ethan." She leans back in her chair, watching as he shifts nervously in the doorway. He doesn't look like the confident man she once knew. His suit isn't as sharp. There's a hint of stress in his eyes. For the first time in years, he isn't the one in control. Lena doesn't say a word. She just smiles. Ethan stands in the doorway, adjusting his collar. He looks around the elegant office, the expensive furniture, the breathtaking city view. He swallows hard. He never imagined he'd be here, as a job applicant. Lena watches him carefully. She doesn't rush. She lets the silence linger. Finally, she speaks. "Please, have a seat." Ethan hesitates before stepping forward. He lowers himself into the chair, trying to look confident, but his hands tighten into fists. Lena folds her hands on the desk. "So, why don't you tell me about yourself?" Ethan clears his throat. I used to own a company," he says. "It was doing well, but we had some financial setbacks, some bad investments. The market shifted, and we weren't prepared." Lena raises an eyebrow. "Oh, and what happened?" Ethan sighs. "I lost it all." It's the truth. His arrogance led to risky business decisions. He thought he was untouchable, but success isn't guaranteed forever. Investors pulled out, clients left, his company crumbled faster than he could save it. And suddenly, Ethan wasn't the man everyone admired anymore. He tried to start over, but doors that were once open slammed shut. His connections vanished, his money ran out. His friends disappeared. Now he's desperate for a fresh start. Lena leans back in her chair. She remembers how he used to be, the man who looked down on her, who laughed at her struggles, who acted as if wealth was permanent. Now, he's the one struggling. Ethan shifts in his seat. "I know I don't have the best track record right now, but I'm a hard worker. I've learned from my mistakes." Lena taps her fingers on the desk. She has a choice to make. She could reject him. She could remind him of every insult, every humiliation, every moment he made her feel small. But Lena is not like him. She knows what it's like to have nothing. She knows how it feels to be overlooked, ignored, disrespected. So instead of revenge, she asks, "Tell me, Ethan, what have you learned?" Ethan hesitates, then finally says, "I've learned that money doesn't make you better than anyone else. I've learned that respect matters, and I've learned that people remember how you treat them." For the first time, his voice doesn't carry arrogance, it carries regret. Lena watches him for a long moment, then nods. "All right," she says. "Let's see if you mean it." Ethan exhales, relieved but still nervous. He wasn't expecting kindness. He wasn't expecting a chance. Lena remains calm, unreadable. She looks at his resume, scanning his past roles. His experience is impressive, but she knows that experience alone doesn't define a person. She glances up. "You used to run a company. Why apply for a regular job?" Ethan shifts uncomfortably. "Because I need to start over. I thought I had everything figured out, but I was wrong." Lena studies him, looking for any trace of the man she once knew, the man who mocked her, who dismissed her like she was nothing. But he's not the same. His ego is gone. His pride is broken. She leans forward. "Do you remember the last time we met?" Ethan looks down, ashamed. "Yes. You insulted me. You said I had no future." He nods, his jaw tightening. "I was a fool." Silence fills the room. The weight of his past words hangs between them. Lena doesn't smile. She doesn't gloat. She simply says, "People change." Ethan looks up, surprised. Lena continues, "You need a fresh start. I believe in giving people chances, but only if they deserve them. Tell me, if I hire you, what will you bring to my company?" Ethan swallows hard. He thinks for a moment before answering. "I know what failure looks like now," he says. "I know what it's like to lose everything. I won't make the same mistakes, and I won't look down on the people around me. Lena watches him closely. She sees honesty. She picks up a pen, taps it against the desk, then finally says, "You start Monday." Ethan blinks. "Wait, really?" She nods. "Don't make me regret it." Ethan stands up, his voice steady but grateful. "I won't." As he leaves, he pauses at the door. He turns back. "Lena, thank you." She doesn't reply. She just watches him go, knowing that life has come full circle, and this time, she's the one in control. Ethan walks out of the office, feeling something unfamiliar: humility. For the first time in his life, he understands what it means to be given a second chance. Not because of his wealth, not because of his connections, but because someone saw potential in him despite his failures. Lena watches him leave, thinking about how much has changed. Years ago, she was the one struggling. Now, she's the one making the decisions. But she doesn't feel the need for revenge. She doesn't need to make Ethan suffer the way he made her suffer. She has already won. Monday comes. Ethan shows up early. He's dressed professionally, but this time, there's no arrogance in his stance. He greets people politely, listens more than he speaks, and works hard without expecting special treatment. Lena notices. At first, the employees whisper about him. They know who he used to be and they don't trust him. But Ethan doesn't complain. He doesn't demand respect, he earns it. Over time, he proves himself. He takes on difficult tasks, supports his colleagues, and never looks down on anyone. One afternoon, Lena walks past him in the hallway. He stops and says, "I get it now." She raises an eyebrow. "Get what?" "The value of people. I spent my life chasing money, thinking it made me better than others. But I was wrong. Money can disappear, but how you treat people stays with you." Lena nods. "Took you long enough?" Ethan chuckles. "Yeah." He hesitates before adding, "I'm grateful you gave me a chance." Lena studies him for a moment, then simply says, "Don't waste it." And just like that, life moves forward. Lena isn't the same struggling woman anymore. Ethan isn't the same arrogant man. The roles have changed, but the lesson remains. Respect is worth more than wealth. Because in the end, power isn't about money, it's about character.